You know, what even is a workplace culture? Is it just a vibe you get? Is it something you experience day to day? Or could it be something you can actually vote on? Well, we're about to dive into a pretty fascinating and, let's be honest, tense meeting at the Shoalhaven City Council where they try to do exactly that. And it all kicks off right here.
CL 25259, notice the motion culture of the elected council, Councillor Proudfoot. Do I have a seconder? Councillor Kazmiri.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the recommendation as printed in the business paper. I think we're all aware of the issues that were raised in the press, the allegations that was reported in the press that there is a toxic culture at Shoalhaven City Council. And so the inference, which I think is way off the mark, the inference to say that this council has a toxic culture is just not true. And so I took exception when I heard that in the media. I'm not going to point the finger at the person. I'm not interested in personalities, not interested in bringing anyone down. I'm just interested in what I read, and I thought that's just not fair.
He's putting forward a formal motion. His goal? It's crystal clear. He wants to officially shut down media reports that there's a toxic culture at the council. He's basically trying to put it on the record that, nope, that's just a myth. So, the stage is officially set, and you've got to understand this isn't just some casual chat around the water cooler. This is a formal, structured debate about whether to officially declare the council's own culture as positive and productive. Okay, so to really get what's happening here, you need to know what a notice of motion is. Think of it as a serious procedural move. It's not just a suggestion. It forces a real debate and, crucially, a recorded vote. The whole point is to create an official council position on, well, in this case, on itself. All right, so let's first break down the arguments for the motion. This is the case being made by the man who started it all, Councillor Proudfoot. Councillor Proudfoot's whole argument really boils down to his own experience. I mean, the guy's been in local government since 1991, and from his perspective, this council is, and I'm quoting him here, the absolute tamest he's ever seen. So his thinking goes like this. What some people are calling toxic, he just sees as regular political debate. He says it's way calmer than the Bear Pit of state parliament. He genuinely believes the culture is improving, that it's a safe and even nice place to work, and that the whole controversy is just being stirred up by councillors who are upset when their ideas don't win. He's pretty much saying, hey, this is just how politics works. But yeah, not everyone in that room saw it that way.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I personally find this notice of motion quite bizarre. I'm not sure of the intention. Is it if one party moves it en bloc, then we can say to SafeWork, hey, throw your evidence in the bin, there's nothing to see here. I'm not quite sure what the intention is there. And I'm so glad Councillor Proudfoot is having a really positive experience. I was called a nasty name upstairs in the hallway within 5 minutes of being here. So clearly my experience is very different. And I only wish that all councillors had participated in our recent Code of Conduct training to hear some other examples that were shared at that. But clearly this is in relation to the recent South Coast Register article and the comments that were made around this being a toxic culture. And that is the experience of one person who spoke out, well, a couple of people spoke out, but one in particular who is a leadership and workplace culture coach and felt that she needed to call it out, and I want to commend her for her bravery. And if she's watching tonight, I'm sorry, and we really are trying to do our best, and we will try to make you proud.
Not by a long shot. In fact, other councillors started to paint a very, very different picture. And this is where you see the two realities just completely collide. On one side, you have Councillor Proudfoot saying it just is a nice place to be. And on the other, you have Councillor Gemma Tribe sharing that she was called a nasty name in the hallway within 5 minutes of arriving. I mean, it's the perfect example of how two people can experience the exact same workplace in completely opposite ways.
Councillor Boyd.
My sentiments are pretty much the same as Gemma's. Councillor Tribes, I beg your pardon. I find this nom disingenuous at best. If the majority vote for this nom, it passes, but that doesn't mean it's true. It's one councillor's view. It denies that others may have different views, views that have been shaped by our experience or by their experience on this council. And also any reasonable person watching the council meetings here in the gallery or online observe the behaviour of councillors and make their own decisions about the culture of this council. I acknowledge that councillors who share my views on the decisions we are required to make are in the minority. Even more in the minority now that one councillor has resigned due to the culture she experienced on this council. And I accept that I will lose a lot of decisions in this chamber. When you believe in and value something strongly, it's really disappointing and sometimes upsetting that it's not supported by the majority. And there have been lots of those issues for me. And it is simply a fact that I do not have any political power in this chamber. Not achieving what I think is a good decision for the Shoalhaven is inevitable, and I accept that. I know that's going to happen. But I will stand up for the decision that I think is right, even if it means submitting a rescission motion, knowing that it will lose. You never know in this place. It is very unpredictable. This elected body is supposed to make decisions in the best interests of the Shoalhaven now and for future generations, and we really do need to focus on that. It's not, as Bob said, it is not, Councillor Proudfoot said, it is what is said that's important, that we should listen to, not who said it and what their political allegiances are. We're all different ages, backgrounds and life experience and political allegiances, yet we were all elected to this council by residents of the Shoalhaven, and it is the responsibility of each one of us to treat each other with authentic respect and courtesy, always. I would hope that at the end of the next 12 months, all councillors consider that the culture of this elected body that they experience is positive.
Really gets to the heart of the entire counter-argument. Her point is so simple, but so powerful. One person's good experience, no matter how real it is for them, doesn't just cancel out someone else's bad experience. And look, the opposition wasn't just talking about feelings. They brought specific examples to the table. They brought up a colleague who had recently resigned, pointing to the culture as a key reason why.
Norris.
Thanks, Mayor White. With the greatest level of respect, I disagree entirely with this motion. Just because you don't see something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Just because you don't feel something doesn't mean it doesn't exist. We had a councillor here who could no longer be here for reasons that are to them their own personal being. That is not something that is up for debate. That actually happened. So for me, this motion is a bit self-serving, it is. And in my own conscience, I cannot support a motion that is so divorced from reality. It is true that there are councillors in this room who don't feel they are getting anything done. They are just trying to make the wheels turn. And I'm sorry, but when you run for elected office, you run because you feel like you can make the best difference for your community. And when you feel as though every single motion you put up is going to get shot down, that is not a good culture. It is not. So I really think I would love to continue on with the workplace training that has been outlined. Should we all continue on with it? I would really love to get this group working together as I really hope it could do, because as a group, we could do some incredible things. As a group, we could move this organisation forward and we could make the people of Shoalhaven say, you know what, I'm proud of my council. They stop arguing about themselves and they get on with the issues that are for us. So, let's move forward together in the spirit of collaboration. Let's not say the culture is good until it actually is. And let's find a way to deal together, because I just spoke some truths. And if the Minister for Local Government isn't watching already, damn, you better well watch the response.
Thank you. Is there any further speakers for or against? Right, a reply, Councillor Proudfoot.
Thanks, ma'am.
A really crucial point. Voting to say the culture is good doesn't magically make it true. It just risks silencing the people who feel differently. And then, the debate took a really sharp turn. What had been a fight over opinions and perceptions suddenly became a question of hard fact when Councillor Chrysler Latest put this question directly to the council's CEO.
So, Councillor Christolitis.
Oh, that was interesting. Sorry, victim blaming. is where we've gotten to. So well done, Councillor Tribe, on inciting that.
Councillor Kemp, sorry. Yes.
Again, we're inciting that sort of behaviour.
So, Councillor Crystal.
It's incitement.
Do you think?
Point of order on the point of order. Thank you.
Can you sit down,
can you
please,
not-
Councillor Christolitis?
Don't even go there.
So, are we going to settle down?
I'm good, yeah.
Right. Well, I'm on the point of order. You can refrain from making comments about other councillors. Thank you. So, have your point. You can speak.
Thank you. I'll start off just by saying I think that this is a direct rebuke of the lady that used to sit next to me here, and despite claims, it is literally pulling her down. Literally, not the ironically. So we can't change history by vote.
So, just Councillor Kemp, is it a point of order?
Yes, it's a point of order. It's not what the original motion's about. We're again making allegations.
So, can we refrain from making allegations against other councillors while we do our... Well, you referred
lady
to the
that used to
person
sit
that used to sit next to
You
you.
make an allegation.
Right, so...
I'm very confused about what you think an allegation is, Madam Mayor, because that's nothing to... I didn't allege anything.
Councillor Kemp, sit down. Continue with your debate, but refrain, or I'll ask you to sit down and not speak again,
Madam Mayor, I'd love to refrain, but I have no idea what I'm refraining from.
from naming other councillors or making allegations against other councillors. If you can't understand that, you may need to sit down.
I'm not sure that any allegation has been made, Madam Mayor, but I'll continue. Thank you. Okay, so, but again, we can't change history by vote, which is what this is asking to do. There is already an investigation by WorkSafe into the council of this. Is there not? Sorry, is that an allegation or is that the truth? You
So
okay?
that's a question for the CEO.
That's
That's
okay. I'll just go ahead and outburst over
No,
here.
we are not going to have an argument against the floor. And if you are going to grandstand, I'm going to adjourn the meeting for 5 minutes. And if we can't come back and behave ourselves, then I will start looking at who I'm going to evict from the chamber.
Okay. So I'll ask you a question through you, Madam Mayor, to the CEO. Is there a WorkSafe investigation into the council culture of this council?
So, Councillor Kemp. Point of order. No, there isn't a point of order. He's asking a question, so please sit down.
Through the chair, we've been approached by SafeWork New South Wales for information, and they will use that information to pursue an investigation in relation to councillor conduct in the...
Thank you very much.
And boom, there it is. The CEO confirms that SafeWork NSW, that's the state's official workplace safety regulator, has been in touch and is going to use information they've received to pursue an investigation. This just changed the entire game. Suddenly, this isn't just an internal squabble anymore. So with the news of an official investigation now hanging in the air, the mood in the chamber just soured, and the whole thing quickly escalated into the most heated part of the entire night. It really kicked off after one councillor suggested that others were inciting this negative environment. That's when Councillor Chrysler-Lattis fired back with this incredibly sharp accusation. Victim blaming is where we've gotten to, and that one line just lit the fuse. From that moment on, it was just procedural chaos. You had accusations of incitement flying around. You even had the very rare and confusing point of order on the point of order being called. You could just see the mayor struggling to keep a lid on everything. And the whole chaotic scene hits its peak right here. The mayor threatens to just shut the whole meeting down, warning councillors about grandstanding, and even threatening to have people removed from the chamber. It really shows you just how raw the nerves were. Okay, so after all that drama, things eventually calmed down enough to get to the whole point of the exercise, the vote itself. But first, Councillor Proudfoot got his final right of reply, and he really doubled down.
Madam Chair, and I thank every councillor here for their contribution, as I always do. Some interesting comments were made, which has uncovered the real truth about this. The real truth. And we had that from the last speaker. and it's not a personal criticism of Councillor Norris, where it was revealed that it's pretty upsetting when you don't always get your own way.
After all the arguments, all the tension, and all the chaos, it finally came down to a vote. And the result? Well, it was pretty clear-cut.
Councillor Dunn. So the vote is 8 for, 4 against. That's been carried. The 4 against are Councillor Christolitis, Councillor Norris, Councillor Boyd, and Councillor Tribe. So that is carried.
By a vote of 8 to 4, the motion passed. So it's now officially on the record. The Shoalhaven City Council has formally declared that it has a good, positive, and productive culture. Which brings us right back to where we started. The vote is in, the motion passed, but the passionate debate, the hurt feelings, the differing experiences, and that looming SafeWork investigation, all of that is still there. So it really leaves us with this one big question. Can you actually define a culture with a show of hands? Or is culture something that lives and breathes in the individual experience of every single person in the room?